right, let's call to order the City of Milton Common Council meeting for Tuesday, February 6th at 6 p.m. And can I get confirmation of appropriate meeting notice?
Meeting was posted at Hometown Ace Hardware, Piggly Wiggly, and Milton City Hall.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? We have an agenda, the Pledge of Allegiance. Hey, Bill, you want to lead us? Thanks. Public comments regarding items which can be affected by council action. I know we have a couple of students from Future Business Leaders of America. And is there anyone else that would like to make a comment during this portion of the meeting? I don't know that we have anybody signed in other than the young ladies here. So let's go on to the Mayor Proclamation for Future Business Leaders of America. So I'm going to read it, and then our guests will come up to the podium to accept the proclamation. So after I get done reading it, go up to the podium, give us your first and last name, address, and then you'll get the proclamation to take with you. All right. Future Business Leaders of America Week, February 11th through the 17th, 2024. Whereas Future Business Leaders of America Incorporated is a nonprofit educational organization whose first chapter was established in Johnson City, Tennessee in 1942, and whereas Iowa became FBLA's first state chapter in 1947, and whereas Milton High School officially chartered its FBLA local chapter on November 12th, 1974, and whereas FBLA includes more than 250,000 members and advisors in 4,600 chapters nationwide in middle schools, high schools, colleges, universities, career and technical schools, and private business schools. And whereas FBLA is a professional business organization dedicated to bringing business and education together in a positive working relationship through innovative leadership and career development programs. And whereas FBLA members perform community service activities and strive to build a student's understanding of the realities of the modern business world. And whereas FBLA teaches middle school, high school, and college students basic business and leadership principles and assists them in the transition from school to work. Now, therefore, I, Anissa Welch, Mayor of the City of Milton, do hereby proclaim February 11th through the 17th, 2024 as National FBLA Week in the City of Milton and School District of Milton. And it was signed February 6, 2024. So come on up to the podium, ladies.
Hi, my name is Megan Gasser, and my address is 4101 Foxwood Court in Janesville.
My name is Anya Shinkay, 847 Rogers Street, Milton, Wisconsin.
And tell the council why you're here tonight.
We're here to accept the FBLA Week proclamation on behalf of Milton High School's FBLA Club.
Thank you very much, and I'll be running this right out to you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, our next proclamation is Black History Month, February 2024. Whereas the month of February is observed nationally as Black History Month to share the accomplishments African Americans have made and continue to offer to this nation, and whereas Black History Month acknowledges and honors numerous past and present educators, scientists, activists, pioneers, leaders, artists, inventors, entrepreneurs, and elders, and whereas the theme of Black History Month for 2024 is African Americans and the arts, and whereas the story of Milton since its foundation has included progressive abolitionist views and actions that led to the Milton House, a former stagecoach inn built in 1844 by Milton's founder, being named a National Historic Landmark, recognized on the National Network to Freedom, and documented as the only authenticated Underground Railroad site in Wisconsin people are able to tour. And whereas Andrew Pratt, a self-emancipated slave who came to Milton in the 1860s, never served in the Union Army during the Civil War, but attempted to enlist in 1863 by writing to Wisconsin's governor to approve an exemption to allow a colored man to enlist. And whereas A.B. Lee, born a free African-American man in 1833, who migrated north at the beginning of the Civil War and volunteered for Massachusetts 54th, the first African-American Union Army Combat Brigade, settled in Milton following the war. And whereas Milton remembers and recognizes the contributions that these two individuals and countless other African Americans have made and are making to the unique fabric that is the community of Milton. And whereas the Mayor and Common Council recognize the significance of Black History Month as an important time to acknowledge and celebrate the contributions of African Americans in the city of Milton and around the United States. Now therefore I, Anissa M. Welch, Mayor of the City of Milton, County of Rock, State of Wisconsin, do hereby proclaim February is Black History Month in the City of Milton and encourage the celebration of this month to provide an opportunity for all residents in the city to learn more about the past and to better understand the experiences that have shaped our community and nation. And I would encourage you to tour the Milton House. All right, approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? All right, the consent agenda is approved. Discussion and possible action regarding 2024 farmland lease.
So this is to lease the land that we have historically leased in the past. It's vacant land, usually in our industrial parks or other areas of the city that's undeveloped. We lease the land to keep it in agricultural production and to reduce maintenance costs for the city. There's 5 leases with 4 different entities. We did recently have one lease that the previous renter decided they no longer wanted to pursue, so we did lease that or bid that out previously. So that is different than the other lease entities. City administration is recommending approval of the attached 2024 farmland leases as presented.
Questions, comments, or motion?
I just have a question. I would like to make a motion to approve this, but I'm also looking for the availability of using the farmland lease money for trees in our parks, specifically Crossridge Park. So does that need to be a separate motion?
I think that would need to be a separate agenda item. Or,
Because
I
we're
don't know.
accepting the leases. We're doing the leases.
Historically, I think the lease revenue's gone to
Parks.
facilities associated with it. So, for example, the Crossridge Park lease, that would go back to the Parks Fund. I believe the industrial park leases, that goes to TIFs, or the area where that is, but most likely TIF.
Right.
So, in order to take that revenue, I guess that's something we would have to discuss.
I'm thinking that we need to just, rather than put that farm lease land for Cross Ridge, rather than putting that into the whole park fund, that we should just put it into Cross Ridge Park, specific for tree planting, because it is a 35-acre park and it can use all the help it can get.
So, Mark, do you want to weigh in? The other Mark, the attorney Mark?
Well, I don't have the leases in front of me, but I assume they don't indicate where the monies are
They do
to
not.
be done. I guess
They
just
don't.
done by prior practice. Okay. Well, then I guess in my opinion, then as it's dealing with that subject, and so if you're approving the lease, then you can approve where the proceeds are to be directed, if you wish to. Now, I would say that given that some of them go into the tax increment districts, because that's where they're located, perhaps you don't want to address those going into this park fund for Cross Ridge until that's examined more by staff to see if that's okay or not. But for the others, I guess if you want to make the others, I don't know which of those leases it is. I mean, that's,
The Cross Ridge Park lease is the lease with the Hanuska.
So,
Just a second. Kelsey, do you have any comment that you would like
We
to make?
also don't have necessarily specific, each park doesn't have its own fund. It's one general park fund for all of the parks. So we don't have at this point anything set up to differentiate between the parks.
so can we just get that addressed then?
Specifically, what would you like to get addressed with your motion?
With my motion, I would make a motion to approve the leases as presented, and I would request that the Hanuska lease funds be placed in a new Cross Ridge Park account specific for trees or bushes.
So are you asking the council to direct staff to create a separate account then without them doing any research into creating that account or what that entails or if there's extra staff time?
I
I just want
I
to,
guess
just
we-
to make sure
Right.
that we're clear.
Right. I guess if we need to have staff take a look at that, that's fine. And I don't have a problem with that. Like I said, I agree with the leases, and I am just trying to get that field money from Cross Ridge to stay in Cross Ridge. That's my goal.
you can certainly make a motion to approve the leases as presented with a recommendation that the funds from the Hanuska lease be allocated by the Parks Committee for trees in Cross Ridge Park.
That sounds good.
Is that your motion?
That is what you said.
Yes.
Okay. But not create a separate fund?
Correct.
Okay. All right.
The bigger issue in Cross Ridge Park is it doesn't have any place to sit. So I was wondering, maybe, what if that included benches too? Where is there to sit in Cross Ridge Park?
There's benches out in Cross Ridge Park. What we actually need is more trail and trees for shade. That's why even in any of these other areas, in our industrial park and that, I mean, trees are something that we need to keep going throughout the whole city, no matter what it is, even in our industrial parks, they need to have trees out there too. We've got to have clean air. I mean, this is a health issue also. So, and rather than depending on, maybe I'm going too far here, but rather than depending on any type of a grant that we might receive from the state, it's just a way that we can get some more trees planted.
So is there a second to Linda's motion?
Second.
Is there any further comments or discussion? And does everybody understand the motion? Okay, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Okay. And can you say it in the microwave?
Microwave?
I can't read
I
it.
go to the room. My reasoning is that while the trees and bushes are good, I think there's other things that might need to be addressed that money could be used for, and it was going to parks for them to be able to dictate the greatest needs.
Okay, thanks. Anything else I can do to lighten the night up? Discussion and possible action regarding conditional use permit application to install a variable messaging sign at 1181 Gateway Drive.
John Green Family Autos has submitted this conditional use application to install the variable message sign. Signs of this type require a conditional use permit. There was a public hearing just held by the Planning Commission earlier tonight, and they did recommend approval of this sign. And Senate administration also recommends approval of the conditional use permit for installation of this sign.
I would move the approval of the conditional use permit.
Second?
Is there any questions or comments or discussion?
Did anybody show up for the public hearing?
We had 2 council members were there.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Is there anyone opposed? All right, that motion carries. Discussion and possible action on an ATV workshop.
Before I was appointed administrator, the city council directed staff to hold an ATV workshop by February 15th, 2024. We've been having some challenges finding presenters. We're doing a little bit better. I found out another one. We'd be able to get the City of Jefferson's police chief here, possibly. They have had ATVs in their community for over a year, so they'd be able to recognize some problems that we may not think of. But would like a little bit more time to prepare, and the staff is prepared to go ahead with presenting that workshop, just like a little bit more time to prepare.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to extend the deadline to hold an ATV workshop to March 30th, 2024.
Second.
Any further questions or comments? All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? All right, that motion carries. Here we go. Discussion and possible action on fire impact fees.
Lakeside Fire District has asked members to weigh in on municipalities instituting an impact fee to help funding with the new district fire stations. This would be exploring the option, and only exploring the option if every constituent member of the district would be interested in impacting these fees. State law requires us to conduct a study to figure out the anticipated capital costs and associated with new development. That study would cost $28,000 for the entire fire district. Our portion of that would be around $4,500. And this would explore the use of possibly implementing impact fees. Each municipality would have to implement these impact fees separately. And again, the fire department is not going to go through with this unless all 11 municipalities agree to do this. Again, this would just be exploring that. This would be going on for new subdivisions and new industrial lots, possibly. That has not been determined yet, but the district would like some direction on whether the city is interested in implementing these fees.
So all of the members of the Lakeside Fire District Board discussed this issue. This was brought up by one of the township members, as there's been some aggressive subdivision development in some of the townships, and which costs them extra money than to provide services to. So they respectfully requested that we think about this for our municipality. And I know we have it on our agenda. I know a couple others in the district were going to have it on their agenda too. So we wanted to get this before you so you could think about it, talk about it, and make a recommendation, or however you want to proceed.
I like this. And I had considered this previously when we look at large subdivisions, large developments, that impact that has on our fire and police. And so if this gives us an opportunity to associate some of the extra burden, the costs of that extra burden to adding that industrial area or even residential development, I would like to explore it.
I also would like to explore it. I think it's, in the long term, good for the general taxpayer because it, assesses to those new developments that are creating the costs, some of those fees. So I'm certainly, and I certainly think the dollar amount involved is such that we should explore it.
I also think that this is a good idea. We have been struggling for many, many years to try to figure out how to support our fire and EMS services, and we've come a long, long way. But this is something that we really never could only address other than with equipment. Because if you're going to have you might need to have a ladder truck or something like that. Those were the only types of discussions that we really had. And, we have to keep going with this. And I believe that our community will feel like things will be done more fairly for the newer developments as opposed to the developments that are already here. Because the people that are already here have been paying. We all know that. New people coming in, if this is a commercial or even an apartment complex, we need to do this for the maintenance of the department and for the continuation of the service that we have.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do you want to give us a little bit more detail on that?
Sorry. I will, whoops, wrong one. I'll make a motion to approve city staff looking into what am I trying
I
to
don't know
say?
that it would be the city staff.
I think you're looking to approve the district going forward with this study.
But do we not need to have,
Well, it will all depend if all 11 districts go forward with, all 11 municipalities go forward with the district.
Okay,
But the district would be the ones doing the study.
okay, so we don't need to have our staff look at this also?
That's correct.
Okay,
I mean, obviously, I'd be following along, and
right,
Needs a recommendation.
right,
this is a recommendation.
Yes.
Yep.
And then your motion should include that we would pay our share of the cost for the study.
yes. And in my motion, the city will pay their portion of $28,000 for that study.
So you're making a motion for a positive recommendation for Lakeside Fire Protection District to move forward with their study of possible impact fees and the city to pay their assessed portion of that study.
28. I want to just keep the number in there.
Okay, their portion of the 28,000. Okay, is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? All right, that motion carries. Discussion and possible action on an extension for Red Hawk Flats on their development agreement.
Red Hawk Flats has approached the city and asking for a 1-year extension. I think they're just looking to cover their bases in case they don't meet the December 31st deadline. They did break ground last week, so they have started the project, but they are asking for that extension. The extension would be fine with the city. Red Hawk Flats, the owners of that company, could not make this meeting tonight. If you have questions for them, they ask that we please table this and discuss this next meeting. But if the council is comfortable going ahead with the amendment to the TID agreement, they would appreciate it.
I would move that we approve the extension for Red Hawk Flats to December 31st, 2025.
Second?
And
There's-
And the attached amendment to their development agreement.
Second.
Is there any further questions or comments? All those in favor say aye. Is there anyone opposed? All right, that motion carries. Discussion and possible action regarding Anderson Lane.
First Congregational Church is considering improvements to its parking lot. Anderson Lane is a city street that parallels Janesville Street and bisects the parking lot. It exists within a 33-foot right-of-way. There is a sewer and water main under the street. As part of the church's process, they reached out to the city to see what our thoughts were with the road. We have obviously nothing planned for Anderson Lane at this time. It's basically used as a parking lot. We've had some discussions with the church about the project. There's been some cost estimates developed. Discussions have included anything from the possibility of funding our portion of the work to vacating the road right away. If the church is willing to grant easements in return for the utilities, then they would own the entirety of the parking lot. There is a representative from the church here as well. So really just a discussion to see where the council, or how the council feels this project, should proceed with respect to Anderson Lane and the public road that exists within the parking lot area. I don't know if you have any comments or questions you wanted to share. Or?
My name is Sean Wilson.
Could you go to the microphone? Thank you.
Also known as the microwave.
Microwave, yes. My name is Sean Wilson. I'm a member of the First Congregational Church across the street here. And we are considering upgrading our parking lot. It needs work. And since the roadway bisects the parking lot, we just wondered if the city would be interested in having us repave that road or some sort of a mutual agreement between them. We had talked about vacating or having the city vacating this to us, but I'm not sure we're really interested in owning a road or maintaining a road. But I think it would just look better if the road was maintained as well as the parking lot on both sides of it, I guess. So I hadn't planned on saying anything here tonight. I just
Well,
wanted
thank
to
you.
listen.
You've done well. Okay. And there was a memo attached explaining the current situation. So questions, comments, a motion?
So if the vacation were to occur, it would no longer be a public street. It would be the parking lot or part of the parking lot for the church. So the public would not use that. I don't know how much the public actually does use that now anyway with Janesville Street, 7,500 to 100 feet away. The city does plow the road, but we do not plow the parking lot. The church maintains the parking lot. Other than some pothole repairs, we don't really do any maintenance on Anderson Lane.
So is all we are really, the city is responsible for is the infrastructure underneath the road?
We own there's a water and sewer line that exists under the roadway. So it was likely that was the reason for the right of way, or part of the reason for the right of way at the time. There was also at one point buildings, I don't know if it was a home or what, on the east side of Anderson Lane. So, Janesville Street maybe was constructed later. I don't really know all the history of the, specifics for how that was improved and developed. I know, again, just trying to see if there's a solution that works out. I do agree with the church. I think it makes the most sense to try to improve the entirety of that area, but I don't know, if if we want to maintain that long-term either from the city, because there isn't really other than the utilities underneath, a need for the roadway portion of the street.
Is there a sidewalk?
I commented earlier on that I've gone past that intersection for the past 25 plus years and never knew that there was a street there until I read my city council packet, at which point I drove by and said, oh, there's a street sign there. You know, I don't think it does much in terms of utility to the city. And immediately my thought was, you know, vacating that street with the easement to take care of should we need to deal with those sewer and water lines. At the same time, I can understand the church's position in terms of, well, that's a little bit more parking lot to be able to maintain. I don't know whether a compromise would be to provide the vacation of that street, but the vacation of that street in good condition, along with the rest of the parking lot. In other words, pay for our portion, but have, I think it was Rock Road that was the bidder. I would think it's easier for them to pave the whole thing as opposed to the various different sections. And so I'm, you know, thinking on my feet here, but my thought is that we might pay for our portion of the paving with the idea of vacating the street, turning the property over to the church, but with the appropriate easement.
And then that was kind of my understanding of the memo.
So what I was gonna say is, I actually, as long as I lived in Milton, knew that it was a street, because I only lived like a couple houses down, and that was the way we used to walk to Pig. But I also think that vacating is not a bad idea, and I should kind of agree with what you just came up with.
I would agree.
Does someone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to vacate Anderson Street.
Do we want to
Not
make,
exactly what Bill said? We'll say
or what about if we say, you know, somehow negotiate with First Congregational Church to perform the vacation of the street, you know, on, with consideration of improvements of the roadway, because we'll have to ultimately get their agreement. So to do what Bill's discussing, so I would just want to keep that part available, and then we can prepare something and present it, or if you wanted to see it again more formal before we presented it, either way it would have to come back if it's an agreement. But
Okay, I'll make that motion.
So
second.
authorize staff to negotiate with the church.
With the church, yes.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? All right, that motion carries. All right, discussion and possible action regarding the 2024 HMA preventative maintenance project.
so annually, Milton does preventative maintenance on their streets. This year, we put out a project for bid, including various segments listed in the memo. We received 2 bids on January 18th. The low bid was provided by Farner Asphalt Sealers for a total of $65,570 for the work included. It was substantially below the amount budgeted for the work, which is good. We've taken a look at the bids and are recommending approval of the 2024 HMA preventative maintenance base bid and alternates 1 and 2 to Farner Asphalt Sealers LLC.
Is there any questions or comments or a motion?
I would move approval of the 2024 HMA Preventative Maintenance Project bid award to HMA.
To Farner Asphalt Sealers.
Or Ferner, I'm sorry, that's Ferner Asphalt Sealers.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, that motion carries. Discussion, direction, and possible action regarding electronics recycling.
COM2 Recycling Solutions is a vendor who provides electronics recycling. They're offering the service to city residents at no charge to the city or the residents. If this proceeds, there'll be a container placed at Public Works for use by residents during normal business hours. This was discussed by the Public Works Committee, and they were in support of the program. Clerk Salvo also did reach out to other communities that have worked with this company, and the feedback was positive. We would be required to register with Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources as an electronics recycler. So based on the positive feedback in the Public Works Committee review, staff is recommending approval of the agreement with COM2 Recycling Solutions LLC for the electronics collection and recycling.
I'll make the motion to approve the agreement with COM2 Recycling Solutions LLC for electronics collection and recycling.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye. Is there anyone opposed? All right, that motion carries. Discussion and possible action declaring public works and utility items as surplus.
Council policy number 5 requires any item with an estimated value of over $2,000 to receive common council approval to be declared surplus prior to disposal. We're requesting 4 items. I have 3 on the list, but I would like to add a 4th one, the 2006 Ford Explorer, the Bosch tire changer and Bosch tire balancer, as well as an asphalt crack sealer. I would like to add to the list tonight. Upon the sale, the revenue will be returned to the general fund. So staff is requesting a motion to authorize the use of Wisconsin surplus auction for the 4 items described tonight.
Questions, comments, a motion?
I make a motion to authorize staff to use the Wisconsin surplus auction process for the presented items.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? All right, that motion carries. Discussion and possible action regarding ordinance 2024-526, amending membership of Community Development Authority.
The Community Development Authority has requested a youth member be added to the committee. As we've been doing with several of our committees, adding that youth member, Community Development Authority has made this request. The ordinance has been prepared by staff and reviewed by their city attorney. If approved, the appointment will then be made by the mayor with confirmation of the city council. Just as a reminder, the enactment of the ordinance requires a first, second, and third reading and a motion to adopt. If the council prefers, the second and third reading may be waived at the same time as the first reading is completed.
And we have appointed other youth to our other committees, and we have a very active youth board for the library, so this is keeping consistent with what our practices are.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2024-526 to add a youth member to the CDA. And the motion is to approve the first reading, waive the second and third, and adopt.
Just wanted to point out the attachment says 2023 as opposed to 2024. So even though the agenda says 2024, that correction, it should be ordinance number 2024-526, which is exactly what Linda said.
I apologize for that.
Good job, Linda.
Second.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? All right, that motion carries. Paul's forgiven. All is right in the world.
Was that a motion?
It's an absolution. You didn't know the mayor could do that, did you?
I second that emotion.
I should come to town more often. Okay, committee reports. Anything? Okay. Yes.
Historic preservation met a couple weeks ago at this point. Talked a little bit about interpretive signs, and also donated some sound equipment to the city.
That's right. That's right. Anything else?
Did anything on our big weekend, Civil War living history?
That would be closer.
Staff reports. Mark, I know you've done a lot of talking tonight, so do you just want to pass or just continue to welcome the spring weather?
Pass.
Kelsey?
Pass.
We're broke. When Kelsey passes, we're broke.
No, we're doing well. I'll have a bigger, I'll probably have 3 or 4 items on the agenda next meeting. So
Okay.
save it for them.
Ashley?
Just staying busy. We're planning our food truck rallies and we're planning a Monarch Festival for September, so hopefully more information on that soon. Just having fun.
Excellent. Okay. Paul?
Staff met with HayGov. It's a computer module that would be adding to our website. It allows for better integration and streamlining for our internal processes. Also would give another opportunity for the public to weigh in and communicate with city staff. We're looking at possibilities for things like reporting potholes or reporting ordinance violations that they see in the community. Just make things a little smoother, easier, quicker for us to respond. Second, I've just this week been approached by 3 new possible residential developments that are looking to expand in our city. As we know, with the increase of jobs, we're going to have to house a lot more folks here in town, and so this is a welcome to have people inquiring about that.
Great. All right. Our team building exercise tonight is really easy. What are you loving, or what are you excited about, or what are you looking forward to? For example, you might be loving the weather right now. Of course, you can't use that because I just use it as an example. No, I'm just kidding. What are you loving? What are you excited about? What are you looking forward to?
I'll go. I know. Loving that the days are staying lighter longer. When I get home, it's a little light outside still.
Nice.
I actually have a lot on my plate that I'm loving right now, so I find myself lucky. But I will go with my house up in Spencer is closing next week, so got that sold and taken care of.
Congratulations. You're here.
You're stuck with me now.
I'm looking forward to the Super Bowl, even though it's the last football game for months, but it should be a good one.
Looking forward to Milton Living History Days. So what are the Living History Days?
I'm really looking forward to March 12th, the candidate forum, where the 3 of us get to get up and answer questions in front of the wonderful city of Milton and be challenged.
I'm going to write a lot of questions.
Do it.
In keeping with our youth and governance theme, I'm looking forward to the fact that the county has finally put together their committee to look at the youth and governance program for the county. And that really is all due to the efforts of Max Olson, our own Max Olson.
I am looking forward to seeing all of the flowers that are still going to be blooming around my house this year as the snow is melting.
I'm loving retirement. Okay, well, like my partial retirement. The marks, the Teresa.
Yeah. Yes, I'm looking forward to some, sunshine, opening windows. All I've been around are sick people, people that have had, in my house that have had COVID and little babies that have been sick. And so, yes, spring.
I'm just looking forward to the warmer weather too, I guess. I really like Kelsey's. That was really good. When the days get longer for me, it really kind of turns the tide in the mood. So I really like that.
Well, looking forward to my daughter's graduation from high school this spring and going on to college this fall and starting an exciting new phase in her life.
Is she gonna be an attorney?
I think she's smarter than that.
That is exciting. And our guest in April. All right, nice. So you can, come and share cake with us. We always enjoy cake. Oh, any food, really. Anything. Next time you're here, we're expecting food. To celebrate you, of course.
Birthday, she said April, so we got a little time yet.
Yeah, I know. Like, she can save up. That's what I'm talking about. All right, Eric.
I'll make a motion to convene into closed session pursuant to section 19.851E, Wisconsin Stats, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session regarding purchasing of property.
All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? All right, we'll move to closed session.
And the record shows that's unanimous vote.
Yes.